Come share and chat with us at BFM anytime, anywhere for free. Don't forget to add BFM 부산영어방송 to your Kakao friends list.
Man, I haven't got a chance. I call him.
대한민국 인구의 5%, 이주 배경을 지닌 250만 명 이상이 함께 살고 있는 우리. 그 속에 우리 친구들이 있습니다. 승원이와 농구 대결을 좋아하는 모이브.
모이브요? 농구 진짜 잘하죠. 근데 전 못 넘어요.
뭐래? 내 집에 수신 잘 쏴.
하늘이와 떡볶이를 먹으며 수다를 즐기는 카리나.
얘요? 얘 명구 진짜 잘 먹어요. 진짜 안 맵냐? 전혀.
민승이와 편의점 가는 걸 좋아하는 윤수도.
윤수 다른 점이요? 뭐 있냐?
글쎄?
우리에게 중요한 건 우리 모두 친구라는 사실. 우리는 모두 우리입니다. 공익광고협의회.
The time is now 2 o'clock.
Welcome to BFM News at 2. I'm David Kim. President Yoon Suk-yeol announced a support package worth 25 trillion won for micro-business owners, emphasizing the effectiveness of tailored support over universal cash handouts. During a meeting to discuss the economic policy for the second half of the year, Yoon highlighted that micro-business owners are still burdened with debts from the COVID-19 pandemic. He stated that instead of cash handouts, the government will offer substantial, targeted support to those in need and implement structural measures. This remark also appeared to be a subtle critique of the main opposition Democratic Party's proposal to give 250,000 won to all citizens to encourage domestic spending. The Minimum Wage Commission voted against the proposal to implement different minimum wage rates for various industries next year. During the plenary session at the government complex in Sejong yesterday, 15 members opposed the differentiated rates, 11 supported the proposal, and 1 vote was invalid. The commission consists of 9 representatives, each from labor, management, and the public interest. Since 1988, when differentiated minimum wages were first introduced, a uniform minimum wage has been applied across all industrial sectors annually. The management faction of the commission has advocated for different minimum wage rates, citing the economic difficulties of small business owners and the self-employed. However, the labor sector opposed the idea, arguing that it contradicts the purpose of the minimum wage system, which is to ensure minimum living standards for workers. They also argue that the challenges for small businesses and self-employed individuals are due to high rents and excessive competition, not high wages. In local news, Busan City will hold events today and tomorrow at the City Hall and other locations to promote the value of cooperatives in celebration of Cooperative Day 2024 on July the 6th. Established by the International Cooperative Alliance ICA in 1923, Cooperative Day is observed annually on the first Saturday of July to raise awareness and promote cooperative activities. Additionally, the city will conduct education and promotional activities for social cooperatives, providing care services for children, the elderly, and people with disabilities. The Busan National Gugak Center announced the opening of the 2024 Yeongnam Dance Festival, Dance I Want to See, on July the 13th. The festival, which started in 2017 to promote the legacy of traditional arts in the Yeongnam region, celebrates its 7th anniversary this year. The Yeongnam region in South Korea includes the inland cities of Daegu, Yeongju, Andong, Kimcheon, Mungyong, Sangju, Gumi, and Changwon, as well as the coastal cities of Pohang, Ulsan, Busan, and Jinju. Local low-cost carrier Air Busan announced the operation of charter flights to Boracay, Philippines from Gimhae International Airport and Incheon International Airport starting at the end of this month. To cater to summer vacationers, the Busan to Boracay flights will run twice a week from July the 31st to August the 17th. The Incheon to Boracay flights will operate twice a week from July the 30th to August the 20th. In international news, U.S. President Joe Biden attributed his poor debate performance last week to jet lag, stating he, quote-unquote, wasn't very smart for extensive travel before the debate. He admitted nearly falling asleep on stage and acknowledged not listening to his staff's advice. Despite returning from travel nearly 2 weeks before the debate, Biden's remarks fuel intra-party concerns about his mental fitness ahead of the November's election. And now taking a look at the weather here, it's currently 30 degrees Celsius under cloudy skies. No rain is forecast today with mild winds of 4 meters per second. The weather agency issued a heat wave advisory for central Busan effective from 10 a.m. today. The advisory is issued when the maximum perceived temperature exceeds 33 degrees Celsius for 2 or more days or when severe heat damage is expected. The wind warnings previously issued for western, central, and eastern Busan have been lifted. And that'll have to do it for this hour's news. Thank you for joining us. You're listening to BEFM Busan 영어방송.
Your best choice. BEFM Busan 영어방송.
Coming up next is 2 p.m. Reboot with Casey McKeever. BEFM Busan 영어방송.
Language is something that allows us to connect with others. So, more languages equals more connections, right? That's one of the many reasons people like to learn another language, but there are so many more. And some people just naturally learn to speak multiple languages, 4 or 5, and they can do it from a young age. And others of us struggled to just learn one more. Why do we have to try so hard to learn another language? Well, today we're going to talk about some of the secrets of learning a language. It's Wednesday, July 3rd. This is the 2 p.m. Reboot. Let's get it started. Welcome back to the 2 p.m. Reboot with Casey McKeever. We just listened to Bang a Gong, Get It On by T-Rex to kick off the show. And that one little snippet there, it took me forever to find out where he got that from. That's from a Chuck Berry song. That little quote there. Meanwhile, I'm still thinking. But that song you just heard was an example of glam rock. And if you're not familiar with the term, glam rock was big in the 70s, especially early 70s. And they had some wild costumes, some nonsensical lyrics, especially T-Rex, and the driving beat. Yeah, that's what it is. That's that glam sound. And the singer and guitarist from T-Rex, his name was Mark Bolan. He was actually a model before he found rock and roll stardom, so he was on his way anyway. He was a good-looking dude. And he dropped out of high school at age 14 to actually pursue acting. And then some people noticed how he looked and his sense of style, and he got an appearance in a 1960 photo story for Town magazine covering the new, at that time, mod scene. So if you're not familiar, that's T-Rex. We could do 2 hours of T-Rex. I'd be happy with that. And T-Rex, along with the other big bands in the 1970s like Led Zeppelin, the Rolling Stones, Elton John, Rod Stewart, they actually all fled England for a time to avoid taxes. And they did some of their best work, actually, while they were in tax exile. During that time, Mark Bolan actually resided in Monaco, so he was fine. Don't feel bad for him. He had enough money. He did well for himself. Well, welcome to the 2 p.m. Reboot on this Wednesday, July 3rd, and we're happy to be with you here. We're from Busan, and we're broadcasting at BEFM 90.5, and you're listening to us on 103.3 FM if you're in Gijang, Jeongwon, and Noksan areas. In Seoul, we're broadcasting on TBS EFM 101.3 FM, and in Gwangju, we're on GFN 98.7 FM. Thanks for joining us wherever you might be today. I don't know about where you're at, but it's a little sweaty out here in Busan today. The sun's starting to come out, and the temperature's starting to go up, and it is humid here. Ooh, stay cool wherever you're at. Air conditioning is good today. And if you want to join us, you can join us on YouTube as well. All you got to do is go to YouTube and search BEFM or Busan영어방송, and you can see us right there streaming up. There I am. Oh, it's me. However, I should let you know, when we do go to music, because of a copyright issue, we do have to mute the songs while we're streaming. So if you want to listen to the songs, of course, you can do so on FM radio. And if you go to if you download our smartphone app, just go to the App Store on your phone, and you can search BEFM or 부산영어방송, download it. You can log in. You can leave us some comments during the show as well, and you can listen to us wherever you go. So that's one way to get around the music copyright issue. And we apologize for the inconvenience, and we hope to get that resolved as soon as possible. But we've got a lot coming up for you on the show today. In hour number 1, we've got Hot Off the Press, and this is where we introduce 2 new songs from the world of music, and I took a look for today's music. Oh, interesting. Somebody I haven't heard from a while. So that'll be interesting. And after that, we've got All Around Busan, and this is something we do every Wednesday where Jimmy comes in and introduces one of the dongs in Busan's 16 different districts and gives us all kinds of fascinating information. I used it. Last week, he told me about Bupyeongdong. I sent my friends there. I did. I was like, all right, I got a place for you to go. And they hung out there for half of the day, so they had a good time. And then in hour number 2, we've got our daily list coming up. Perhaps you can guess what it might be related to. At the top of the show, I was talking about language learning, and I've been having some guests from another country for a week and a half now. Let me say Dobry Den and Bunaziwa to my guests. So they speak 2 languages, including 3. Yeah, they speak English as well. And it's been a language house at my house. And I've had all sorts of languages flowing through my brain. And I'm like, you know what? I feel like I haven't learned any one of these languages well enough. So today on our daily list, we're going to talk about some secrets of learning a language. I think that'll be useful for you. Useful information out there. If you want to learn English, if you want to learn Korean, if you want to learn any other language, the secrets are all kind of the same. And then today we've got Inside Korea. Every Wednesday and Thursday we have stories about Korea and the things that are happening here, culture-wise, event-wise, just to, kind of keep an eye on what's going on here. And you can probably guess I've got something related to language as well. For our question of the day, I want to know about you. What language would you like to learn? 어떤 언어를 배우고 싶나요? Oh, and that's so good because today the Korean phrase for that is so easy for me. It made me feel a little bit more confident. Sometimes we have like a long translation and I'm like, oh, 어떡해. So today, really easy. What language you like to learn? What language would you like to learn? See, the English is hard too. 어떤 언어를 배우고 싶나요? And I'll throw out my answer for you just as a suggestion. I'll give you bonus points if it's not English and not Korean. My suggestion for myself, I would like to learn Spanish because I studied Spanish for I don't know how many years in middle school, high school, and university, and I've got nothing to show for it. I could do, buenos dias, but that's about it. So sad. It's so sad to me. I feel like for all that time and effort, well, not much effort. That's the problem, you see? All that time I put into it, I've got nothing to show for it. So I would like to give Spanish another try. So let me know what language you would like to learn. You can reach us here at shop 9050 or pound 9050 for 101. And you can message us for free if you use the Kakao Talk app. Just search BEFM or Busan 영어방송 there. Add us and send us a message for free. Or as I said before, you can go to your app store on your phone and download our smartphone app. Just search BEFM or Busan 영어방송 right there. And, I got a message here. Here we go. Let's see. Any language? Jack Kim chiming in with the language. Mastering languages, yes. Okay, so to learn or master one language well enough, there's no reason to learn others when it comes to a purpose of getting a job and earning money. Interesting comment. Do you only need to learn one language these days? Do you even need another language? I guess I would say before the advent of so many easy translation apps on smartphones that everybody's carrying around, maybe it was a little bit different. Is that different now? There's no need to learn another language? Are there any benefits to learning another language besides perhaps job possibilities or job, I don't know, skills, qualifications? I guess that was the old kind of reason for learning a language in a lot of cases, perhaps to make money. But that was never my goal for learning a language. I don't know what my goals were. For my case, I learned Romanian just to communicate because I was living in a country where they used predominantly Romanian. And I had to be like, okay, I'm hungry, mi-e foame, or I'm tired, eu s-am obosit. So, yeah, I learned it to communicate for that purpose. I certainly didn't make any money learning it. But, that is a motivation for a lot of people to learn language, perhaps for a job or to increase the possibility of getting more jobs. But, like I said, maybe these days, do you really need another language? Good question. So I'll put it to you. What language would you like to learn? And if you don't want to learn another language, you can let me know that too. And let me know why. Maybe you've headed up to here trying to learn another language. Interesting. Okay. Well, think about your answer. Send us a message. And in the meantime, we're going to continue this Classic Rock Wednesday with Nazareth and Broken Down Angel. And we'll be back with Hot Off the Press. Welcome back to the 2 p.m. Reboot with Casey McKeever, and you just heard Broken Down Angel by Nazareth. There are going to be some gems, some classic rock gems throughout the show today. I'm loving that. But right now it's time for Hot Off the Press, and this is something we do every Monday through Friday. We bring you two of the newest, hottest tracks from around the world of music. Our first song today is Wake Up by Imagine Dragons. And Imagine Dragons, in case you're not familiar, they've been around for quite a bit of a while now. And, you know, times change, trends change. But this Las Vegas group, they're still up there, and they're still making songs and still putting out hits. And Imagine Dragons actually never got the memo that this is supposed to be an era of diminishing returns for big, ambitious, overbearing, sometimes pop rock bands. Yeah, they get that loud, boom, in-your-face sound. And it's actually been more than a decade since they released their career-making hits Demons and Radioactive, but they remain staples of modern rock radio, as well as any high school football weight room where the coach wants to get them motivated. So there you go. First, we'll have Wake Up by Imagine Dragons. Our second song is going to be You Can Make It by Will Smith, featuring Friday and Sunday Service Choir. A lot of days of the week in there. And Will Smith, I'm so interested to see back into making new music. He's a Grammy Award-winning artist, and he has released this new song called You Can Make It. Sounds like it's pretty positive. In this track, he collaborates with Friday and the Sunday Service Choir, who are actually known for their work with Kanye West. And the idea is to deliver an inspiring message about perseverance. He's got a high-flying reputation, however, that took a fall after the incident at the 2022 Oscars. He actually won the Best Actor award for his portrayal of Venus and Serena Williams' father in King Richard. However, I think most people were more aware of what happened when he had an outburst and attacked Chris Rock after Chris Rock made a joke about his wife, Jada Pinkett Smith. So this is perhaps an attempt at maybe spreading a little positivity after all the negativity surrounding that incident. So these are our two songs for Hot Off the Press today, and I'll get to your messages as soon as we're done with Hot Off the Press. First, we've got Wake Up by Imagine Dragons, followed by You Can Make It by Will Smith, featuring Friday and Sunday Service Choir. This is an emergency broadcast from BEFM. The Ministry of the Interior and Safety has issued this PSA at 2:09 p.m. on July 3rd, 2024 nationwide. Heat wave advisories are currently in effect for some areas in Busan, Daegu, Gwangju, Ulsan, Jeonbuk, Jeonnam, Gyeongbuk, Gyeongnam, and Jeju. Please avoid outdoor work in paddies, farms, construction sites, or others, especially from the hottest hours between noon and 5 p.m. Please take thorough precautions against the heat wave when working in plastic film houses or outdoors by wearing breathable work clothes, drinking plenty of water, and taking frequent short breaks and more. When going outside, wear light and loose-fitting clothing, wear a hat or use a parasol, and carry water with you. If you experience symptoms such as dizziness, nausea, or headaches, please rest in a cool place. This was a message from the Ministry of the Interior and Safety. Okay, and we're back with the 2 p.m. reboot now. And an important message there to just be careful. The heat is definitely going up in a lot of places. And you just heard two new songs that we had today from Hot Off the Press. And that was, the last song we heard was You Can Make It by Will Smith featuring Friday and Sunday Service Choir. And before that, you heard Wake Up by Imagine Dragons. And I did get some messages I wanted to get to as well about our topic today, which was all about language. We were talking about what language you would like to learn. 어떤 언어를 배우고 싶나요? And I threw out Spanish as my answer there. And I think because I said Spanish, I got a message from Chris Sutter who says, you must be American. I'm assuming that's why you say that, Chris, because a lot of Americans probably try to learn Spanish and fail. And Chris says Japanese. He would like to learn Japanese because Japan is near and fun to visit. That's a great reason. So nothing to do with like making money or for employment purposes, just because you want to go visit somewhere. And when you visit a place and can speak the language, they really appreciate it. In my personal experience, for sure. So yeah, I think that's a great reason. Think about somewhere you want to travel and learn that language. Do you have to learn it like deep to be able to use it? I don't think so. You know, you just get some surface words that you can use, greetings, thank yous, things like that, and then you can pick up more along the way. People love to teach you, right? I wanted to say Norok to Elena, who says, soon we will learn Korean now, or soon we will know Korean, sorry. Soon we will know Korean. Elena is here learning Korean every day at my house. So we're using a mix of English, Korean, Romanian, and Russian in my house for like the last week and a half. So my head's full of language. But I'm enjoying it. It's a great experience. Shifashme, right? So what are you doing? What are you doing right now? I want to know. And I want to ask Jimmy too about what language he would like to learn. So we're gonna take a short break, and we'll be right back with All Around Busan and Jimmy. All right, it is now time for All Around Busan. Because it's Wednesday and Jimmy comes in every Wednesday to tell us about all of these different places we have in our wonderful city of Busan. Good afternoon, Jimmy.
Good afternoon,
or should
Casey
I say,
and the listeners.
Hey. Should I say good afternoon in Korean? I don't know how to say good afternoon. There is no good afternoon in Korean, is there?
No,
not really.
좋은 오후예요.
Yeah. 이상하죠?
Yeah, kind of weird.
We
don't really say that.
Yeah, so there you go. So sometimes translation doesn't always work. So 안녕하세요 would be appropriate in this situation, right?
Yeah.
안녕하세요.
Yeah, 안녕하세요.
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 Oh, cool. Did you learn Spanish?
Yeah, back in high school, like we all do.
Yeah.
I actually learned it for like 2 consecutive years, but all I remember is Coyote Yamas, me llamo Jimmy Itu.
Nice. Me encantado? I don't know. What are you supposed to say in that situation?
I don't know. I have no idea. De nada.
De nada. Akuma de nada. Yes. I got nothing in my brain to answer that. But yeah, that was kind of my point why I would like to try Spanish again, because like you, I learned it in high school. Elementary school, I don't think so, but middle school for sure as well. And then university, I decided to take it. It was my choice at that point.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, now I'm going to get the Spanish. And then like 2 more semesters of Spanish and nothing.
Sure.
Nada.
That's the thing.
Nada.
Yeah.
Right?
Not at all.
Nothing. Yeah.
Just gone with the wind.
So what about you? If you were to try learning another language, what would you like to learn?
Yeah, I mean, I'm on the same page with you. I mean, I definitely want to, learn Spanish again.
Would you?
Because, yeah, I mean, I remember learning it, but then now,
Right.
like, it's not in me. So, like, what's the point?
Right. Like that's what I said before. I have years on my transcripts and nothing to show for it. It's kind of embarrassing in a way.
It is.
It's like, what was I sleeping? I don't even know how to say sleep in Spanish.
See, that's the thing.
Maybe dormir or something like that. I don't know.
And then I don't know about you. And then
Yeah.
I also get like picked on. Like most people say that you probably took those second language class as like a Spanish. And then you cannot say anything about it. I'm like, oh yeah, right.
like people know.
Yeah, they would know.
Why would
Like,
they say that to you?
I mean, like yeah, right.
But the same reason Chris is like, you must be American. Guilty as charged, yes. I learned a second language, not really. Yeah, that's a
Right.
lot of experience for, I would say, not just American students, but I think a lot of students around the world where you learn, quote unquote, learn a language in high
Yeah.
school or whatever, and it just nothing sticks, right?
True.
And then maybe you didn't have the motivation then either.
Yeah.
That might come
probably.
later in life, right?
Right.
Well, that's not what we're here to talk about completely today, of course. Jimmy's here for All Around Busan, and what are we going to talk about today?
Today, I would like to take you guys to 거제동 in Yeonjaegu district.
Nice, okay,
And
cool.
then one interesting thing that I found out is that in Yeonjaegu,
Yeah.
there are only two neighborhoods. Two dongs,
Two
literally.
dongs.
Because
Ah.
usually when you think about it, even in Haeundae,
Yeah.
there are a lot of dongs. There are a lot of neighborhoods.
Right.
But then, yeah, based upon my research, I'm like, wait. We covered like Yeonsandong last time. That's
Right.
in Yeonjaegu.
Right.
And then what's another one that I could, literally find in Yeonjaegu district? And there's only one left, 거제동. So see, people may don't know. People may not really familiar with this, but then there's only two neighborhoods in Yeonjaegu district.
Since our theme is language today, in case you're listening and you're not familiar with what a dong is or a gu is, right? So we're talking about Yeonjaegu, right?
Yes.
So Yeonjaegu, so that's kind of like the larger region within the city. Would that translate to like a district?
Yeah, district.
Okay, so that would be like a district. So district is gu, right? And then dong is neighborhood, as you say,
Neighborhood.
right? So it's like a
Yes.
smaller division within that district. And that is really unusual. Now that I think about it, to only have two within one district.
I know,
Two
right?
neighborhoods.
Yeah.
And sometimes it can, I don't know if there's a particular size to qualify as a dong or if it's population that, determines that.
Yeah.
But sometimes they seem to me to be really big and
It
sometimes
is.
not so much at all.
It is big though, because that kind of makes sense because in like Yeonjaegu,
Yeah.
there's Yeonsan 1동 to Yeonsan 9동.
So that's divided within
Yeah.
itself. Okay, right. So
And
that
even
means a lot of
거제동 too.
people.
Yeah, and
That's
거제동
basically what
too.
that means, right?
Right.
Okay. Cool. So what are we going to learn about? And by the way, I did want to say thank you. All of your recommendations. I was trying to think in Spanish there. You see what happened? I was thinking-
Yeah.
All of your recommendations from last week, awesome. Great.
It worked out.
Oh, yeah.
Woohoo!
Like everything you said, I was like, okay, you guys are going here, you're going here. So my friends actually ended up in Bupyeondong 시장, Bupyeon 시장,
Right.
and they spent like half the afternoon there.
Yeah.
And then they went to Gukjae Shidang. It was like the whole area. They were just happy.
And they probably got exhausted after came home.
Perfect.
From like walking for like hours.
It was
right?
perfect. Early bedtime. Early bed. It was good for everyone.
Fabulous. It's good to hear that I actually, helped you out.
Definitely. So yeah, I
Yay.
appreciate it. And I think anybody listening right now can take this into account and be like, ooh, this is cool places for me to check out. Or if you've got somebody coming into town, these are great ideas where I could send people around the city,
For sure.
especially if you got to work. Like if you
Yeah.
got to work, you'd be like, all right, where can they go? Boom, go here. So where could we learn about, so we're going to Gojaedong today, right?
I'm taking you guys to 거제동.
Okay.
And 거제동 is actually known for its community and excellent schools and convenient amenities. And it is also a transportation hub with various bus lines and subway station. And it actually definitely do make sense because like Yeonjaegu district is not that far from Santam.
And I think we've got it. Is that up on the screen there, or was momentarily where we got the map there? It looks huge to
It
me.
is.
Oh man,
It
it is
is.
big. Okay.
It is. And making it easy to access other parts of Busan because as you can see on the map, it's also near to Haeundae Centrum area, but also at the same time, it's easy way to reach out to Busan Jingu district as well, which is Seomyeon. That's like the main commercial district.
Right. So shopping, more shopping. Oh, there it is. Okay. So here you can see the little thing there, that little red bubble.
Right.
So that's the center of Gyeonggi-dong. Okay, cool. So yeah, it is a really big area. So I'm guessing like Sentum would be close by, maybe to the southeast, and then to maybe the southwest. You got Samyeon right there as well.
For sure.
Cool. All right. Nice. So it's like a good place to kind of be in the middle of both very big shopping areas, but very different style.
A very different style.
Right? And this would kind of be like a nice break from both of those, I think.
I know. And this is also another place considered as having like those old and new all combined together.
Right.
Of course, like they have also traditional markets to go to, and then from like those busy commercial district as well.
Right.
And especially since there are a lot of like companies and like from small business owner shops and stuff, many people actually hang out there even after work period.
Ah, okay. So it's that cool. That's kind of a testament to any area. If it's cool enough that you don't run away as far away as possible after work.
Right.
If it's still cool to hang out there after work, that means it's a cool place.
For sure.
Right? You can still be like, oh, I want to chill.
Yeah. That too. And then one of the main tour attraction or a popular place where I would love recommending you guys to go to is actually a Busan Asiad main stadium. And as you know, most Koreans are like in love with the soccer matches and everything.
Sure.
With even the K-League or the national team, they're really in love with it.
Right.
They love to cheer, and some people love to attend to those live games and etc. And in this area, those stadiums are all kind of like mixed and combined together with the basketball.
I was going to say baseball, right?
And soccer. So,
right.
I mean, not just only for attending those live game purposes. There's like a huge park too. So many people just usually come and hang out there, with the families, doing a little bit of a picnics there too. So it's one of the places that I wanted to actually bring it up.
And Jimmy, this happens every time that you come in and tell me about an area. I was like, I didn't realize that's where that was. I've been there so many times, and I didn't know that was Gyeonggi-dong.
Yeah.
And one thing, I actually work there often too. And
Really?
if I've got a break, I just like walking around the sports complex because it's interesting architecture. I'm kind of an architecture nerd.
Yeah.
And that is a really unique area of the city. It definitely like speaks of like a different time. I guess when all those the stadiums were built, I'm assuming around the same time.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of a cool look into like a specific time period. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just like, there's a lot of like overpasses, pedestrian overpasses you can walk over.
Right.
And just kind of get different views of the places. There's mountains all around there.
Right.
I remember seeing like there's a big archery practice center. If you catch it on the right time, you can see people out there doing that.
Right.
It's just like a lot of fun to walk around that neighborhood.
Just like what you have mentioned, there is like a little hilly mountains, and also there is a bridge connecting one stadium to another.
Right.
So yeah, it's really, really fun place. And then there's also huge market.
Right?
Right? So people also can do some grocery shoppings. And
Yeah. There's right there. I was just thinking, yes, I can't say the name of that market.
Yep.
I totally
didn't
forgot about
say
that.
it.
I totally forgot, but you're right. So basically anything you need in that area. Like if you want to, I guess it would be okay to picnic out there. I mean, it might sound weird on at first glance, but there are some parks out there.
Sure.
There's a park up near that archery area where it's got like this trail that goes through the woods a little bit. There's just like a lot of cool places to hang out.
And this sports complex, as what you have mentioned, is actually surrounded by the neighborhoods.
Right.
There's it's a residential area with
Right.
those huge, tall apartment complexes.
Oh yeah, right.
So yeah, many people also come out there to, just take a walk, maybe after dinner or,
Right.
even on weekends. And
Right, the
stuff.
local residents even, right?
Yeah.
Because, it's like, for them, it's just like right outside. Because I just
Right.
forgot, there's a huge development that went up there not long ago. You're right. That
Yeah.
neighborhood's actually transformed a lot in recent history, right?
So since we were actually talking about this Busan Asia, the main stadium, it was actually built in 2002. Asian Games has been, since hosted. And
Right.
nowadays, they kind of use this place as those concert halls and maintain those kind of festivals for locals and, visitors to enjoy.
Wow. Okay. Cool. So I mean, there's a lot going on there, right?
Right.
Cool. So, what else could we learn about Goje? I'm just thinking of like all these different areas. Is there anything else I should know about? Yeah, I haven't been there in a little while, and I'm actually probably going to go there soon.
As soon as I say this, you'll probably recognize it again. And there is a really, really popular Gojedong legal town.
Oh.
There's a lot of like lawyers and
right.
law firms.
Yeah, right.
Because like this is the spot where they have like this legal town. This area is home to many important legal institutions, including courts, as we all know, and law firms and government offices too.
Right. That's another reason I've actually been there. I've had some not run-ins with the law.
Okay.
Nothing like that. But yeah, I know that area. We've gone there. Me and my wife. We've had some situations where we had to get lawyers and stuff.
Right.
Long story short. But yeah, I've been there for that reason as well.
For
Great.
sure.
All right, I tell you what. So this sounds like a great spot to take a quick song break. And then we'll be back with Jimmy and more about Gojedong. Let's take a listen to Number 1 by Lou Bega.
Is my mom.
Welcome back to the 2 p.m. Reboot, and we're here with Jimmy for All Around Busan. And before the song break, we were talking about some places in Gojedong, and I was like, oh, that's Gojedong? I had no idea because I've been there so many times. There's a lot of sports stadiums around there, a lot of the sports complex, I believe it's called, right? And also Legal Town, which is the coolest. I'm going to Legal Town. It sounds like, you know what I mean? But it is a great place. The courts are there. Bubwan, I believe, right?
Yeah, Bubwan.
So there are a lot of purposes. There's also a university close by. I was like, oh, yeah. I spent a lot of time there. So now I realize, Gojedong, okay.
But I'm not a lawyer myself. But
yeah, Jimmy's not a lawyer.
Yeah, the reason why I'm actually mentioning about this legal town is that, as you know, it's kind of a common sense. Like probably those people who's involved in working that industry,
right?
They're pretty much always like in rush. Right?
Yes, during lunch hour.
Think about it.
Yes, so I've seen that.
City Hall too. Like those government related those offices.
Yep.
But the one charming thing about this area itself is that because of that, there's a lot of great pastries, cafes, and restaurants.
Right.
Like fast food eateries.
Yep.
So yeah, that's why I actually wanted to just mention this place to, let you guys know, not just only for going to the court purposes, but at the same time, you can actually grab some delicious eateries out there.
And my suggestion, go before 12 or after 1 p.m.
Yeah.
Because it is like packed full of government employees and lawyers and judges. Like they definitely like flood the area during the lunch break. So if I actually remember eating lunch at a kind of like old style Oh, I can't, maybe hanshik, but it was something local, something that had been there for a while, and it was so
Right.
good, but it was so packed.
Well, we're going to talk about food later on, but just to give you guys the heads up,
Yeah.
in this area, kalguksu is really, really popular.
Kalguksu is the
Yeah.
thing there, huh?
It's a handmade noodles with
Nice.
like rich flavor.
Right.
Yeah, so it's really good.
Have you actually been there for that yourself?
Yeah, of course.
Specifically?
Just for lunch purposes.
Did you go at the lunch rush hour? Did you
No,
go like
after.
Yeah,
like
smart.
probably after 2.
Right. That's
Yeah.
a smart move because it does get packed there because those big government buildings just empty out.
I know.
Everybody takes lunch at the same time. It's like,
Right.
uh-oh. So yeah, that's a great idea. Cool. So have you actually experienced gojaedong yourself?
Yeah, I actually had a lot of chances to go to the sports complex myself
Yeah.
because I'm a huge sports fan.
What's your sport? Basketball, baseball?
Both, like basketball, baseball, and football. I like everything. So except except soccer.
I was gonna say, what kind of football are we talking about here? So we're talking not about we're talking about American football.
Yes.
You're a fan. Soccer's not your
Yes.
thing. I got you.
Yeah.
But there is soccer out there, and that is a thing for a lot of people. It's a great stadium if you've never been. So you've definitely been out there for sports to watch what's going on, right?
For sure. So probably after the game, we all get starving. So I
Right.
just go to this nearby, places to grab some kalguksu or maybe other menus. So, and then after we can just have like a cup of coffee and chit chat with some delicious desserts. So maybe that's probably one of the purposes and the reason I usually go to Gyeonggi to enjoy watching those games and
Not the legal
delicious
games.
eaters. No, not
Sports.
the legal games. No.
Not the not Game of Thrones or House of Cards or nothing
Not
like
at
that.
all,
right?
not at
Okay.
all.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. So what about the food? What can you tell us about this food specifically? Anything we need to know?
Yeah, I mean, there's actually a lot of food choices, like such as 감자탕 and others too. But then,
감자탕.
but particularly, I just want to bring up kalguksu again because Gyeonggi kalguksu is one of the must-try dishes in
Why?
this neighborhood.
Why?
Because-
What's special about it?
Well, number one, as you know, people who actually works there, they want something to eat really, really fast, but
Right.
also at the same time with a reasonable price,
Right.
and it should be delicious.
Otherwise, they're not going to go back.
Nope.
So they got to keep their customers happy.
Right.
Right. Okay. So it's
Right.
going to be good.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't really have any ideas of what kalguksu is, it's actually a traditional Korean noodle soup, features handmade noodles and a rich, savory broth. So you've definitely tried it
Oh,
before.
for sure. And I was
Yeah.
thinking usually you might have seafood in it, right?
Yeah.
But it's also possible to get 닭갈국수.
Right, 닭칼국수.
Oh, thank you. Can you say it one more time?
닭칼국수.
닭갈국수.
Yes.
선생님 고맙습니다. Which for my friends out there listening, that's chicken noodle soup. Chicken noodle soup.
Yep, chicken
That's-
noodle soup.
It is delicious. And if you get it the seafood variation, that's great too. So, okay, I'm going to have to check this out. I might have to take my friends to Gyeonggi-dong. Not Gyeonggi-do. That's farther away. Gyeonggi-dong in Busan. Right. Okay, cool. And we'll have to get some chicken noodle soup if we can find that there. Or would you recommend, what are you, seafood or chicken?
I am a huge fan of chicken in case of kalguksu.
저도요.
Yeah, let's go grab some kalguksu, 닭칼국수 later on.
Oh, 좋아요. Chicken noodle soup. We love it.
Yep.
Cool. All right. So if you were to describe Gyeonggi-dong in Busan here in one sentence, can you do it?
Yeah, Gyeonggi is a neighborhood in Busan where you can actually enjoy exciting sports events with this delicious handmade kalguksu.
All right. I think you've just put another place on our agenda with my friends. Thank you, Jimmy. You've done this to me like 2 weeks in a row where I've been like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, go for it.
I appreciate it, man. So, of course, Jimmy will be back next week on Wednesday for All Around Busan. We'll see you then.
All right, see you guys next week.
All right. And we're going to take a song break because we've been talking about food so much. Let's listen to Yummy by Justin Bieber, and we'll be back at 3 p.m.
BFM 부산영어방송.
혹시 지금 운전 중이신가요? 어린이 교통사고 피해자 수는 지난 3년 평균 약 9만 명. 특히 어린이 보호구역 안전 기준이 강화된 이후에도 어린이 보호구역 내 사고는 지속적으로 발생하고 있습니다. 스쿨존에서는 반드시 시속 30km 이하 서행, 스쿨존 내 불법 주정차 금지, 차량 출발 전 앞뒤 좌우 살피는 습관으로 어린이가 안전한 도시를 만듭니다. 참, 운전 중 휴대전화 사용은 모두에게 위험합니다. 우리 모두를 위한 교통안전, 나부터 실천하면 모두가 안전해집니다. 어린이가 안전하게 뛰어놀 수 있는 부산. 아이 키우기 좋은 도시는 우리 모두의 미래이자 희망입니다. 이 캠페인은 어린이가 안전한 부산을 만드는 은행, B&K 부산은행과 함께합니다.
Electric kickboards and electric bicycles are common on the streets these days. With the increased use of personal mobility devices, the number of accidents and deaths have reportedly increased significantly.
Personal mobility patrol mode.
I don't need to wear a safety helmet because I'm only riding a short distance.
Wear a safety helmet. When you drive your personal mobility devices, you have to wear a safety helmet.
Hey, I rented an electric kickboard. Let's ride it together.
Okay, you drive in the front, I'll get in the back.
Follow the number of passengers. Only one person can ride an
safely. This campaign is brought to you by BFM 부산영어방송.
The time is now 3 o'clock.
Welcome back to the 2 p.m. Reboot with Casey McKeever. We are now in our second hour of the show, and to kick it off, we just heard Lost in Space by Foster the People. And if that sounded familiar to you, it sounded familiar to me. There was something in that song I've heard before, and there's probably a reason for that. According to frontman Mark Foster, the record started as a case study of the late 70s crossover between disco, funk, gospel, jazz, and all those sounds. It was such a beautiful moment in time when these different styles of music were cross-referencing each other. Artists like Nile Rodgers and Chic, the Tom Tom Club, and Giorgio Moroder. I wanted to dive into that and figure out what they were doing. He figured out something in there. There was some line in there in the chorus where I was like, oh, I've heard this before. Well, if you're curious, again, that was called Lost in Space, and that is on the indie pop band Foster the People's new album, their fourth studio album, Paradise State of Mind, which will come out on August 16th. And they've previewed this LP with the single you just heard, Lost in Space. Definitely a little bit of nostalgia in that sound there. The only thing I could tell was like definitely not 1970s was that like double kick drum sometimes in the I was like, oh, that sounds modern. Welcome back to the show, everybody. You're listening to us here on BEFM 90.5 in Busan and 103.3 FM in Gijang, Jeongwan, and Noksan areas. And also in Seoul, we're on TBS EFM 101.3 FM. And in Gwangju, we're on GFN 98.7 FM. Thank you for joining us wherever you might be today. Thank you, Aina, for the well wishes on this Wednesday. We're having a good day today. Despite the sweatiness outside, it's very hot. It is very humid. So stay cool out there. We've got a lot more coming up for you in hour number 2. We've been talking a lot about language, have we not? My question for today was, what language would you like to learn? And our daily list will help you with that. Today's daily list we've got coming up is secrets of learning a language. So if you've been struggling, if you've got a language you want to learn, we have some tips that see if they work for you. From my own personal experience, I realized that I learn languages one particular way that maybe other people could not. And you know what? That's the case with a lot of things that we learn. Sometimes people learn in different ways, right? But we'll give you some tips that could apply to you, and you take from them. Try them, see if they work, and if they don't, try other things. That's how it works with anything, right? Anything you try to learn, you got to find the right way to learn for yourself. After the daily list, we'll have Inside Korea today. And this is where we talk about some stories that are happening in Korea or look into a little bit of culture, as we were going to do today, just to kind of know what's going on here in the place we live in. And then, of course, we'll have our perfect playlist today. Our theme has been July, and we'll have 2 more songs on that theme for you today because we suddenly find ourselves in July, and we've had Canada Day already. We've got America's birthday coming up tomorrow. It's a busy week for July, right? It's right into the things, all right? Oh, suddenly, July. So, if you have an idea, if you got a language you would like to learn, let me know. 어떤 언어를 배우고 싶나요? And you could answer English or Korean, of course. But I'm curious if there are other choices out there that people have. So send me your answers at 샵9050 or pound 9050 for 100 won. You can reach us for free on Kakao Talk if you search BEFM or Busan영어방송. You can just add us and then send us a message that way for free. Or you can reach us for free also on our smartphone app if you just go to your app store on your phone, search BEFM or Busan영어방송. See, languages are not easy, okay, right? It takes practice. You can download the app there, and after you log in, you can leave us some comments, and you can also listen to us wherever you go. Bring us with you. That's pretty cool, right? So I got a couple messages here. Let's see. From Lee Kelly Nim, who says, well, I assume we're talking about language here. Let's see. I would love to learn ASL. Okay, American Sign Language. That is a language too, right? There you go. So it doesn't have to be a spoken language per se, a signed language. You could even want to learn just a written language. Why not? Lee Kelly adding that if we're specifically talking spoken languages, then Japanese. Okay, so that's 2 votes for Japanese. And the reason is he loves Japanese animation and video games. Being able to understand them in their original language would be awesome. Cool. Yeah, that's one reason I enjoy learning another language, is to enjoy the entertainment in that language, whether it's movies or TV shows. Books I find a little bit too difficult for me. But someday I hope to be able to read not a children's book, because I can already kind of read children's books in Korean, but something a little more my age appropriate. That would be cool. Lee Kelly also saying Spanish would be cool too. Yeah, Spanish is definitely like a big world language. I think there'd be many benefits to learning Spanish as well. And we've got a message from 1437 Nim who says, "Hi Casey, always learning a lot from you and your show." Oh, 감사합니다. Not to mention enjoying all the useful segments throughout the show. Yes, I learned a lot from Jimmy today. I'm taking my friends to Gojaedong. I love learning new things about a city I've lived in for nearly 18 years. It sounds ridiculous to me that I don't know these things a lot, but yeah, you can learn every day. So 1437 Nim says, "By the way, speaking of today's topic, I've been self-studying Japanese every day by reading 5 or 6 editorials in Japanese newspapers. Wow. Sometimes I need to look up the words in the dictionary, which I think is a great way to increase the number of words and enhance grammar and sentence structures." Cool. 1437 Nim, if you find that works for you, continue that. That's exactly what you kind of have to do. You try things out when you learn a language, and if you find that words are sticking, maybe because you're seeing them in context and you can see how they're being used in editorials in Japanese newspapers, wow, kudos, high five. I'm giving you the air high five. Perhaps you can see it. Psh, that's for you. I'm pretty confident I would not be able to read Korean newspaper editorials and understand anything. So I think that's really impressive. Cool, keep it that. Whatever you find that works for you, do it. Stick with it. And as long as you stay motivated, according to a lot of research that I have read in my studies related to language learning and language teaching, motivation is the key. If you can find anything that you are motivated to do, that is a big part of learning. So awesome. Excellent. Cool. Send me more messages. Let me know, what language would you like to learn? 어떤 언어를 배우고 싶나요? And we're going to take a quick song break. We're going to listen to Let Them Know They're on Your Mind. Long title by Cave Town. And then we'll be back with the Daily List.
Just like you.
Welcome back to the 2 p.m. Reboot with Casey McKeever, and you just heard, it's a long title, Let Them Know They're on Your Mind by Cavetown. I enjoyed that. That was cool. It was chill. And it gave me a little time to think about my own language journey, because that's what we're talking about today, language. And it is often a journey, and journeys can take a while. So you got to be patient with yourself. And on the daily list for today, we're going to share some secrets of learning a language quickly. Interesting. So if language does take time to acquire and to learn well, why would you want to learn language quickly? Well, because you might need it. So perhaps it's for a job opportunity, or perhaps it's because you want to leave your country to look for work, and you might need a language quick. So what we're talking about here are ways to maybe not learn in depth, but just to get you started. And a lot of times getting you started is enough to give you the confidence you need to go further. So these are some top tips from experts to learn a language quickly. And these are from the BBC. It's a reputable source. So one thing is to do, and this rings true in my own experience, take risks and speak the language whenever you can. This is one of the top tips. Yes, you have to take risks. And you might be thinking, like, what kind of risk is that? You're not going to lose money. You're not going to, I don't know, hurt yourself. Well, but you might hurt your pride. And there's something that we all like to avoid doing, and that is feeling stupid. And sometimes when you make a language mistake, when you're trying to talk to somebody and you say something wrong, or you say something they don't understand, you might have this feeling inside. You're like, oh, I feel so stupid right now. You have to get over that. That will just only hinder any kind of progress in speaking a language. So that's what they're talking about there. Take a risk. You might not say something exactly right. You might not pronounce something exactly right, but do it as often and as much as you can. Otherwise, you're not going to improve at all. So number one, take risks. Speak the language whenever you can. Number two, another top tip from experts, if you want to learn a language quickly, read children's books and comic books in the foreign language. And this is something I do, and I wish there were more available. If you're trying to learn English as a second language or a foreign language, there are so many resources available for English, especially free. If you look online, there's all kinds of entertainment that is simplified, news that is simplified. And that's the idea behind reading children's books and comic books in a foreign language is you're looking for the language to be a little bit more simple, a little bit easier to grasp. And one way that I've done this in my personal life is by reading Korean children's books to my children. And typically, I might have to ask them for help on some words. Sometimes I can't pronounce them exactly right. And my kids will actually, by this point, correct me. But that's part of the risk-taking process. Like, your kids, or if you guys students, they may look up to you because you're older and you have more experience, and you may feel like there's this like invisible barrier that you don't want to break by making mistakes in front of them. But it's okay. Let them see you make mistakes. It's cool. They need to know that you're human too. And my kids are very helpful when it comes to reading Korean. And that's been great practice for me. I've learned all kinds of sound words, especially if you read children's books, cute sound words. And I'll give you an example when I can think of one. But yeah, there's tons of books available in any foreign language specifically for children. That's a great way to get started. It keeps it very simple. It's not so overwhelming, and typically a little bit easier to pronounce. So that's another tip for learning a language quickly. Read children's books. Comic books, those are useful too, especially because you have pictures to kind of help you understand what's going on. And comic books are often written in a conversational kind of style, so you can see how people would talk to each other in a certain situation about a certain topic. So that's another one I highly recommend as well. Number 3, consume foreign language media. And when I say consume, I don't mean eat it. I don't mean inject it in some way. Consume as in just watch it. That could be movies, TV, whatever, streaming. Streaming's particularly easy because a lot of times they will have subtitles available for you. And this is something I do as well. Not often, though. This is something I probably should do a little bit more. The benefit of consuming foreign language media such as movies and TV or, news anything that's broadcast by, in the language that you want to learn. The benefit of that in a lot of cases is you can really improve your pronunciation because you can hear how people really talk. And of course, you should be aware in many languages and in many cultures, there is like a broadcast style of language that the news people might use versus how people talk to each other in movies and TV dramas. But still, you can learn clear pronunciation, either way. So yeah, really great idea to watch, absorb. I like absorb better than consume. Consume sounds a little, I don't know. Sounds like money's required. Not always. There's a lot of free streaming out there. And, a lot of TV channels are still free. You can watch those as well. You can listen to the radio. What's up? We're doing it right now. Come on. Right? Use this as your source. Number 4, immerse yourself in the local culture. And this could sound daunting. It could sound like, oh, I don't have the money to do that. How am I going to afford to immerse myself in the local culture? Well, it might not be, depending on where you live, it might not be that big a deal. There are local communities within many countries where a group of people might live and still use their native language or their original language that they brought to a new country. There's, just to name a few that I've been to, there's Koreatown in LA, there's Koreatown in New York City, and, there's the language is written everywhere. You can see it all in the restaurants, different businesses, and there typically are people that still speak Korean in those areas. And I bet they would enjoy interacting with you. I had that experience in a place I did not expect. My mother lives in South Carolina, and there's not a particular Koreatown in the city she lives in, but there is a local Asian grocery store. And the last time I went there, I had lived in Busan for a while, and I wasn't aware that it was a Korean-owned grocery store until I heard the owner and I guess another worker speaking in Korean. And then I said something in Korean when I went to purchase something, and they were like, 어떻게 한국말 알아요? And they were just so thrilled that I would speak Korean with them. And they very quickly pointed out that I spoke Busan Saturi. So I was like, oh, okay. So, yeah, you never know. Like you might not have to travel to another country. You can oftentimes search out other languages, other cultures, other just communities where maybe even close to where you live. So that might not be as big of a deal as it sounds like. But of course, you can do that too. Plan a trip, go to some place where you want to learn the language, throw yourself right into it. I heard, Japan mentioned a couple times today by listeners. Yeah, you want to go to Japan? That's one way you can learn the language. Put yourself there, and then you'll definitely be forced to pick it up. Okay, so that's number 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm on number 5. Make use of free foreign language podcasts and apps. I would say this is kind of similar to the foreign language media idea, except a lot of times these are specifically created to help you learn a language. There are so many of them. So many free podcasts about learning language. So many free apps dedicated to learning foreign language. I have at least 5 or 6 on my phone. They're very easy to find. And sometimes when you get free things, they might not be as good as you want. So test them out. See which ones work for you. There are tons of them out there. Get recommendations from people. If you know anybody who's learning a language, ask them, what do you do? How do you study? How do you keep up with a foreign language? And a lot of times people will recommend different apps to you. They're very easy to find. Don't be daunted by that either. Okay, next up, we've got number 6. Don't practice in isolation. Get feedback from native speakers. Now, that also might sound like it's a little bit difficult to do, to track down native speakers. I see a lot of my students, a lot of times when they talk about what they want to speak like and who they want to speak like, they'll often say, I want to speak like a native English speaker. And I do answer often, well, which one? Because there are so many varieties of English out there. So English is a little bit tricky to kind of narrow down what native English should be and what it should sound like. But that's probably the case with a lot of native languages, right? There are probably varieties within that language. So, okay, is that important? I don't know. It's a good suggestion. This might require actually traveling to a place to meet native speakers of a language, but maybe not. You might be able to find a community of people living close to where you live as well who use a language as their native language, and they would probably be more than happy for you to interact with them. Just be kind of sensitive to, introducing yourself into a foreign community and just, throwing your language or throwing their language at them. Just from my own experience, like sometimes it does get a little bit overwhelming when somebody, barks hello at me from behind and I'm like, whoa, I have no idea where that came from. So yeah, I would say just kind of be a little bit self-aware. Probably hang out a little bit before you start, yelling, Dobry den to people if you go to Little Russia or something like that. Yeah, I think it just takes a little bit of self-awareness there. But yeah, something you can definitely do as well. Last one for this, don't worry about making mistakes. I think that's the most important, and that goes back to number one, part of taking risks. If you worry about making mistakes in language, you'll never get anywhere. It will just hold you back. And I make plenty of mistakes when I speak English. I'm sure you've heard many of them today. It doesn't matter. Native speakers make mistakes all the time, and if you ask them about grammar, they probably don't even know half the time why things exist in grammar rules or why things are broken or what rules are broken and what rules apply in this case. Native speakers often don't know because we don't have to think about it, right? When we speak our own language, we were from a very young age taught this, and it just we learned quote unquote naturally without having to learn all the rules first. So just accept the fact that if you're going to learn another language, you will make mistakes, and that is perfectly okay. Good? Good. If you're looking for some tips, this article actually mentions somebody by name. His name is Benny Lewis from Ireland, and he, by now, he probably speaks even more languages. He's somebody who's learned many languages. He's got a lot of free resources online about how to learn languages quickly, and one of his big things is learn by speaking. And he says, after, much like myself, trying to learn Spanish for a long time, it took a while, but then subsequently, once he realized how to learn language for him, he could learn new languages within weeks. And that's actually my own experience after being immersed in Moldovan culture. I lived in Moldova for 2 years. I learned Romanian probably within less than a month. And I never thought that was possible before moving there. But immersion is a big benefit. So if you do have that opportunity to immerse yourself in another language, in another culture, take advantage of it. And, it definitely pays off. I still, my Romanian's not as good as it used to be, but when my friends are staying at my house, they're constantly using Romanian, and I'm like, yep, I know what that means. Not all the time, but it's amazing how much you can retain, even years later. So take the risk. Definitely. If you want to learn another language, do it. It will definitely pay off. And that will do it for our daily list for today. I hope those are some tips you can take with you to help you learn a language quickly. With that, we're going to take a quick song break. Let's listen to Middle of the Night by Thomas Hedon, and then we'll be back with Inside Korea.
I think it's best if you let us sing, because you're so
Welcome back to the 2 p.m. Reboot. You just heard Middle of the Night by Thomas Heaton, and now it is time for Inside Korea. This is something we do every Wednesday and Thursday. We bring you some news stories about things that are happening within the country here, just to get an idea of perhaps culture or things that are happening on what's going on here, right? So we're doing that today, and I wanted to quickly answer Elena there about that. So you have to wait a little bit for that news story. We've got another news story that Elena personally requested. You have to wait for that tomorrow. Today, we're focusing on language, and so we are talking about ways to learn language, reasons that people want to learn language or not. I got a message from Aina Nim, who says, I don't want to learn any languages. I'm too lazy for it. I want to have a connector in my head so that I can insert a flashcard and immediately know everything I want to know, like the Matrix. Right? That's like an experience for a lot of us. We get frustrated when we try to learn something new. It's not happening fast enough. I want to know everything. It feels like it takes so much effort and so much hard work, and it's just like, is it worth it? Well, why are we talking about that? Why are we talking about language today? Well, because I saw an interesting article. The headline is Michelle Zauner to chronicle her journey of learning Korean and next book. And when I saw that name, I was like, oh, I know that name. Michelle Zauner is also known as Japanese Breakfast. She's a vocalist of an American indie pop band called Japanese Breakfast, but sometimes she just performs solo with that name as well. She's actually also a best-selling author, Grammy nominated, so she's winning some awards. And her mother is Korean, but Michelle Zauner, is actually American. And she wanted to learn her mother's language. And after she had some success with her 2021 memoir called Crying in H Mart, she's now following her late mother's advice, living the life of a humble Korean student. And she's been documenting this year-long immersion in learning Korean language in an upcoming book. And she's actually 6 months into the process already. She's learning Korean right now at Sogang University. And I didn't realize she's living here. I've actually had the good fortune to meet her a couple times. And I didn't realize she had moved to Korean specifically to learn Korean language. She says, according to this article, that it's going great. I really am truly in love with the language and feel like I could spend hours and hours endlessly studying Korean. So you see, it doesn't have to be a miserable experience to learn a language. If you can find the personal motivation and personal reasons for learning language, in this case, discovering her mother's culture and her mother's language, it might be a really enjoyable experience, and it's maybe not such hard work in that case. So Michelle's second book is about studying the language, Korean language that is, and also about her life here and documenting how her skill changes over time. She says, I'm curious, especially as someone in their 30s, if it's still possible to acquire a second language and what goes into that. And this is something that people talk about a lot when it comes to learning other languages. Is there a perfect age to learn? According to a lot of research, it seems to be easier for children, and that's due to changes within the brain over time as we age. However, there's plenty of anecdotal experience, I'm sure, my own as well, where you can actually be able to learn a second language very fluently, and doesn't matter what age you might be. Motivation is a key factor when it comes to language research and what motivates people to succeed at acquiring a language. Motivation. That's the word, right? So in case you're not familiar, she is, Michelle Zauner is with the band Japanese Breakfast. They were nominated for a Grammy twice in 2021 for the album Jubilee. And interestingly, she actually, after the success of the album, she decided to take a break. So probably her managers and other handlers were probably not thrilled about that, but she said a big part of the reason why she wanted to come to Korea was because the past 6 years she had been touring as a musician very extensively, and particularly the last 2 years, the band became so much more popular that she actually became very nervous about it. She said, it was very difficult on my mental and physical health, and when my publisher offered me a chance to write a second book, I really jumped at the opportunity to live a much slower-paced life. Zauner said she's discovering her own version of the country in the alternative scene and community. She's actually performed down here in Busan on occasion, one that I personally went to. And she said, it's very different here from her childhood experience of occasionally visiting Korea. She's discovering new parts of the country that she never knew were here, basically, right? On June 23rd, she performed at the Asian Pop Festival in Incheon with singers Lee Min-hee and Lee Lang, who are also two amazing Korean artists. She said, "The biggest thing I'm learning is that there's no rushing, like most things in life." Zauner said she previously attempted to learn Korean about 15 years ago. It wasn't quite successful. What's become so heartbreaking about this is experiencing 6 months into it, it's become clear that anyone can learn a language. You just have to be willing to pursue it every day for a long period of time. So if you think about it, 6 months isn't that long, right? It may sound like a long time, and it may feel like a long time when you first jump into learning something. However, you will notice, if you keep at it every day, you'll notice a lot of progress and much faster than you expect. I'm telling you, I would never learn Spanish over a period of 8 years. Still can't speak Spanish, but given the right circumstances and right motivation, I was able to learn Romanian to a conversational degree in 3 weeks. I impressed myself. I was like, what? I can do this? So yes, my feeling is the same as Michelle Zauner's feeling. Anyone can learn a language. You just need to have the proper motivation and put the proper time and effort into it. And it can be an enjoyable experience. So there you go. That was the whole motivation behind me talking about language today. And our second story for Inside Korea for today, it's also about motivation, but a little bit more the physical aspect of it. And this is a group in Seoul that's running at the Han River at night. So if you noticed, if you're up there in Seoul and you're seeing people running around at night wearing glowing wristbands, there's a reason behind that. It's not any kind of secret message. I guess it could be considered in a way. What they are is they're part of a 동호회, which in Korean basically means like a club. And it's a running club. These guys, they're out there. They decided they just want to run around. They formed a group. It's called Seoul Dimbak, and they formed in 2021. They actually do not limit themselves to a single area. According to the organizer, Lee Sung-moon, who's in his 30s, he was recently interviewed and he said, Seoul Dimbak is a crew formed to run through different areas of Seoul every week. We don't really see running as an exercise. It is more like traveling through diverse places in Seoul. This is the reason why some of us named our regular runs the Run Trip. So there you go. That's another example of people just being motivated to do something and enjoying the experience, right? So whether it's language, whether it's getting some exercise, if you can find the motivation to do it, it will be something that you enjoy for sure. And with that, we're going to take a quick song break. So that'll be it for Inside Korea for today. And perfectly appropriate, I think. Let's take a listen to the song Paprika by Japanese Breakfast. All right, welcome back to the 2 p.m. Reboot with Casey McKeever. You just heard Paprika by Japanese Breakfast off of the 2021 album Jubilee, which was very well acclaimed and very enjoyable. Hope you enjoyed that as well. And I just wanted to mention a couple of messages really quick. Since we're talking so much about language today, and Michelle Zellner, good luck with your Korean language learning. 잘하세요, 수고하세요. So I got a question from 0242님 who says, is it good to study English by watching Friends? And, my first thought was like, Friends, 친구 보고? So no, not looking at your friends, but yeah, I think you meant the TV show Friends, right? And 0242nim says, I wonder they're mostly old expressions. So yes, the TV show Friends is a little bit old now, perhaps, but I still think it's like relevant. Most of the language that you can get from that show, sure, that could work now. The key is, if you enjoy watching it, that will help you. If it's something you don't enjoy, it will be like a chore. So I do recommend to a lot of my students to find programs that they like. There's plenty of TV shows that are, more current perhaps as well. A lot of comedy's tricky that way. I find comedy a little bit hard to translate a lot of times, and perhaps a little hard to understand why things are funny and should be funny in another language. However, there's a lot of language you can pick up with any kind of genre of TV show, whether it's comedy, whether it's drama, doesn't matter. As long as you enjoy it and it's something you don't mind watching again, it'll work for you. One thing I suggest is perhaps if you want to use Friends as an example, perhaps watch one episode with the subtitles of your language so you understand completely what's going on and what they're talking about in the situation. And then the next time, watch it with English subtitles if you're trying to learn English, right? And then the next time, turn the subtitles off. So you got to watch the same thing like about 3 times. And if you can enjoy that, that will be a great way to learn pronunciation, common expressions. And this, I feel like I'm preaching to myself. This is something I should be doing. So great question there, 0242nim. Thank you so much for chiming in there. And real quick, also a message from Lee Kelly Nim who says, stop studying and just talk. Oh, yes. Most people don't need more knowledge, grammar, and vocabulary. They need experience. I think that's the main idea from that guy I was talking about before as well, Benny Lewis. He's kind of known as a polyglot. He speaks at least 7 languages, probably more by now. But that's a lot of what he preaches as well. Just get out there and talk. That will teach you way more than books will. It depends on what your goals are. It depends on, are your goals to, converse with people in a language? Is it to understand for reading purposes? Do you want to be able to watch movies and understand? Think about your own personal goals. If your idea is that I want to be able to speak this language with people, you have to get out there and speak it. I agree with that. And Lee Kelly Nim adding, there is no shortcut to success. 고생 끝에 성공 있어요. No pain, no gain. 알겠습니다. Thank you so much for chiming in with that as well. And now it is time for our perfect playlist. And this is something we do every Monday through Friday. We bring you 2 songs about a theme each week. And this week's theme has been July because it's July 3rd, y'all. It's a new month. We find ourselves in July suddenly. So our first song today is going to be, surprise, July by Natty. And this is a reggae track that definitely exudes warmth and positivity. We could all use some of that. The song was featured on the 2008 debut album by Natty called Man Like I, and it showcases some smooth vocals, skillful guitar playing, and the backdrop is laid-back beats, uplifting melodies. Sounds like summertime to me. The lyrics celebrate the simple joys of summer, love, and unity, and that all combines to make July a feel-good anthem that just radiates good vibes. Our second song for today is 4th of July, which is coming up tomorrow. The song is called 4th of July Fireworks by Kelis, and this is the second single on Kelis's 5th studio album, Flesh Tone. Kelis is probably most known for her hit Milkshake, and many would probably feel surprised knowing that she's capable of a lot of depth after that song, but this song is about that. This track perfectly exemplifies her range, singing about longing for someone special, and she compares the 4th of July as a way of expressing the explosive feelings of love and having strong feelings about the person you desire. Ooh, sounds deep. Okay, so our 2 songs for the perfect playlist today, July by Natty, followed by 4th of July Fireworks by Kelis.
Bow down.
Welcome back to the 2 p.m. Reboot with Casey McKeever. And you just heard our 2 songs for the perfect playlist today. That was 4th of July Fireworks by Kellys. And before that was July by Natty. And I hope you enjoyed that. We'll be back with another perfect playlist, of course, tomorrow. And it's time to wrap up the show already. I've been having a lot of fun today. I just wanted to mention one quick message from 9193NIM that I didn't get to see before, I'm sorry, who mentioned wanting to learn Chinese because her sister and niece will be moving to China soon. So there you go. Cool. So family reasons to be motivated to learn language as well. And I'm glad to see Chinese was on the list too. So thank you so much for everybody for sending in your messages. I hope you have a great afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us on the 2 p.m. Reboot today. I've been your host, Casey McKeever. We'll be back, of course, at 2:05 p.m. tomorrow. And thank you so much for listening. Have a great day and stay tuned for Your Busan. We're going to listen to one last song, one of my personal favorites. This is Paranoid by Black Sabbath.